Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Root Beer here, and I'm ready for another math contest. How about you? So we're going to start looking at the 2018 Hypatia math contest in this video, and we're going to proceed through it. It's only got 4 questions, so it'll be this video and then the following 3. If you'd like a copy of this contest, you can click the very first link in the description down below. You can get the copy, print it out, try the questions for yourself, and then come back and we can exchange notes. You might learn something new by watching my videos, or if you leave a detailed comment down below, I might learn a new way to do things, and that's always a nice thing when it comes to fun math contest questions. Okay, so as I say, there's 4 questions on the paper. It is a written solution contest in the same vein as the Friar, which is the grade 9 version of the contest, or the Galois, which is the grade 10 version of the contest. So a few things to note. This is our paper right here. We've got an hour and 15 minutes. Each question is worth 10 marks, and if you're trying to do well in terms of score, you want to be aware of what questions are worth what marks. If you were writing something like the Fermat contest, earlier questions are easier, but they're worth less marks, whereas here, question 1 is worth just as much as question 4. Question 1's a little easier, so we're going to want to try and do well on that quickly. I'll let you read the rest of this information if you're interested. I want to get right to the math questions. So, question number 1. Mr. Singh gives his students a test each week. And we've got 2 light bulb style questions where we just need the final answer, and 1 written response question where we have to justify all our steps. Okay? So 1A, Anisha's scores on the first 6 tests were 17, 13, 20, 12, 18, and 10. What was the average of his test score? So, okay, we need the average. How do we find average? Well, we add up all the numbers and divide by how many numbers there are. Okay, so what have we got? 17, 13, I think there was a 20 and a 12 in there. Although I cannot remember the others. A 20, a 12, 18, and 10. So we just add them all up, divide by 6. Okay, so you can grab your calculator. One of the things that we sort of glossed over here is that calculators are allowed. So you can grab your calculator, although I try and avoid my calculator when I can. 17 and 13 is 30. 12 and 18 is another 30. And 20 and 10 is another 30. So all these add up to 90, and 90 over 6 is 15. And that's all we need to do. You can write a little bit, but if you're confident in your final answer, you just need to put that in the box in the booklet that they provide you. Okay, so question 1A all done away with. 1B here. John scored 17 and 12 on his first 2 tests. After the 3rd test, his average was 14. What is his score on the 3rd test? Okay, so we're getting a little bit of algebra in here. We don't know the 3rd test, so we might say let T equal John's score on the 3rd test. And then we know the average is 14. And that's 17 plus 12 plus T all over 3. We've got 3 numbers. We add them up, divide by 3. Just want to make sure 17, 12, and 14. Okay, good. Don't want to get the numbers wrong. Okay, so what can we do? Well, we could multiply both sides by 3. And you'll get 42 is 17 plus 12 plus T. 17 and 12 make 29. And if we subtract 29 from both sides, you'll be left with T on this side. 42 minus 29, well, that's 42 minus 30, which would be 12 plus 1. So it should be 13. Okay, so that 3rd test is going to be a score of 13. All right. So I don't think we have enough space for part C, so we'll get a brand new piece of paper here. We'll go back and read C. Now we have to be careful and justify things. We might want to speak in sentences when we're writing down, not just a series of equations and variables. Alright, so C. After the first 6 tests, Dina had an average score of 14. On each of the next n tests, Dina got 20 out of 20. Great. After all these tests, her average test score was 18. Okay, determine the value of n. Okay. So, we have an average of 14. Now, how do we get that average? Well, we know it's 6 tests, but I have no idea what each of the individual scores she got on those 6 tests were. But I don't need to know that. Okay? We know 14 is the average, and that is the sum of her first 6 tests divided by 6. Okay? And then we know later that her average with 18, how do we get that average? Well, it's still the first 6 tests, and then n more tests where she gets 20. So this is, again, her average. It's the sum of the first 6 tests plus n more tests where she got 20. And we divide by how many tests? Well, how many tests were there? There were 6 tests, and then n more. Okay? Now, saying the sum of the first 6 tests and writing that down each time is a bit annoying. So we'll do, and this is incidentally why algebra was basically invented. I don't want to keep writing out sum of first 6 tests, so I just say let S be that sum of the first 6 tests. I don't need to know the individual scores. I just need to know their sum. So 14 is S over 6. And 18 is S plus 20n. Oops. All over 6 plus n. Okay, I've got 2 equations now. The first thing I'm going to do, multiply both sides of this first equation. Might even want to label it by 1 and this one by 2. That way it's very clear to whoever's reading what's going on. Multiply 14 by 6 and we get 84 is equal to S. Okay, so now I know what S is. And I could sub this into equation 2. And so we'll flip the page and we've got 18 is, now where S was, we write 84. And we've got 20n. And 6 plus n, now we could multiply by 6 plus n on both sides. So you'll get 18 times 6 plus n is 84 plus 20n. Expand out the left-hand side. 18 times 6. Let's see, that'd be 6 times 6 times another 3. So that's going to be 108. Plus 18n. 84 plus 20n. Now we rearrange. Bring the 18n over the other side at the cost of a minus sign. Bring the 84 over to the other side, again at the cost of a minus sign. We'll get 24 is equal to 2n. So 12 is equal to n. And I think we just wanted to know what's the value of n. Absolutely. So she takes 12 more tests and gets 20 out of 20 on each of them. And if you want to, you could say, therefore, Dina takes 12 more tests and gets perfect. Okay. So a nice little therefore statement, as you've likely been taught to do occasionally in school. It's a nice little summary. I'm a big fan of putting my a box around the important values and important numbers. But yeah, that's about all you really need to write. It's not super rigorous, especially for the first question or two. Speaking of which, question number 2, we're going to take a look at in the next video. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time.